Yes, people. Welcome back to another stream, man. Hope you guys are all well. Smash up the likes on the way in. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel as well if you're new. Don't worry, Roms is on his way, mate. You know what I mean? We got to question him on last night at Liverpool. That's 2 games in a row that they've not won. You know what I mean? Are they getting rocked? You know what I mean? Can Wolfie smell blood in the title race? Potts is at an AFTV special recording event today, lads. Where he's gone to a chicken shop and doing some recording at a chicken shop. So he's not going to make it, man. But here he is. Rom's looking shook.
They're looking for a strike
last night, right? Look at him, bro. Yo, Roms, man. You getting a bit nervous down there, bro. What's going on, bro? Look at him, man. He's twisting on his chair, bro.
Oh, no. Listen, last night, so what can I say? We bottled it. But I'm not going to come in here and speak about refs and whatnot. We should have saw that game out. And what people seem to get confused by is added time is a minimum, not a maximum. So you can still have time added on to what's displayed. Now, I think Slot got it wrong yesterday, and I'll tell you why. When we go to Goodison, right, we never perform well. I think it's 2 wins in our last 9 visits. So we never perform well there. I did obviously think we'll win the game. My prediction was 2-1. But Ryan Gravenberch alongside Salah and Van Dijk has been arguably our best player this season. We didn't utilise him at all. There's a reason why he got hooked at the 60th minute. Everton, they were pressuring us so high. Obviously, it was unfortunate what happened with Endai, but Beto, the Corey guy, even their DMs were sometimes like in our 6-yard box, and we weren't playing it to Gravenberch. One of Gravenberch's best qualities is playing on the half turn, collecting it off the centre backs. We kept going on the flanks. Why are you going to go on the flanks and keep crossing balls in when they've got 6-foot centre backs that are just always going to clear it every time? It doesn't make sense. I think tactically Slot got it wrong yesterday. I think we showed a lot of resilience to get back into the game. And at 2-1, I'm not going to lie, I was chilled. I thought, you know what? We're going to see this out. It's going to be disgusting. But we'll see this out. And then we let people can say, yeah, Mike Oliver made the time go over. That's not my problem, to be fair. We shouldn't have let the ball go to that left-hand side, and the ball shouldn't be coming in loose off our players. It just shouldn't be happening at the end of the day. And yeah, you're going to get some positive fans saying we still extended our lead to 7 points. It should be 9. It genuinely should be 9. And what this now does, remember I said this to you, LB, after the Plymouth game, if we now go and drop points to Everton, momentum's key. That's when you're going to get some panic in the fan base. And I don't know if you have been on Twitter and seen streams. We're losing, not me personally, but we're losing it already. I think the panic is slowly setting in. Now, I know Potts isn't here, but I still have confidence. I still think we win this league. And I'm not worried just yet. If we drop points in the win weekend, it's panic station. You're going to see a different Roms. But the reason why I'm not worried just yet, if this was a Man City, cool. But at the end of the day, it's still Arsenal chasing us. And I still, even though we'll drop points, so will they. But this is annoying because we need to keep winning. Our momentum has been halted now. This is what 3 games, I think, on the trot now without a win. Sorry, 2 games because we won first. But 2 games without a win now. And to go 9 points, kid, do you know what that would have done to that Arsenal team? I'm going to include you.
It would have been dead, bro. It would have been dead in the league.
Exactly.
I had the white flag out with a minute to go. I was like, it's done.
Yeah.
With a minute to go.
I still think it's done. Personally, I still think it's done. I think Forest are too far behind. I think 10 points with 14 games to go is not possible. Plus, you don't play Liverpool again, do you, Wolfie?
Nah, we've dealt with
so I think that's a bad thing. That you actually needed to play them. And Arsenal's 7 behind. If Arsenal had a fully fit squad, I might be like, you know what? It might still be on, but no Havertz, no Jesus, no Saka. I just don't think it's possible. So I still think it's done. 14 games with no players because they're all injured is a madness. However, Liverpool have got to get themselves out of this now, man, because 2 games can quickly become 3, and then all of a sudden people are talking like, "Oh my God, are we going to see the biggest crumble in the Premier League history?" sort of thing. So, who you got the weekend, Roms?
We got Wolves at Anfield, but
that now has to be the biggest atmosphere of the season. The players have got to get up for it. That is now the biggest game of the season. You've got to win that game.
I think LB, you said it. I think you said Everton's now the biggest game of the season. I think our next game is always now going to be our biggest game of the season now.
Yeah,
especially every Prem game, because the way I look at it is, I'm right now, honestly, I'm not panicking just yet. But if we even draw to Wolves, I'll come back on the next Thursday and say, you lot, it's on. Like, there's no guarantee we win this now. And some people might say, oh, you're flip-flop, but you can change your opinion based on new evidence.
Absolutely.
And do you know what, right? There's a bit of pressure going into our getting there's pressure anyway off the back of the last night. But I'm going to assume Arsenal beat Leicester, right? Even if it's temporarily, they'll cut that gap to 4 points. They'll cut that gap to 4 points, in my opinion, even if it's only for a day.
You on Sunday, Rums?
Yeah, we're on Sunday at
Sunday.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock,
They're the early morning kickoff. So I think they win that game. I think you're going to see 1-0 to the Arsenal to the rest of the season. I think their attack won't do much for them, but they'll get some results. But we have to beat Wolves now. If we draw or lose to Wolves, I don't think we do, but if we drop points, I'm panicking.
But the thing is, though, now that Roms, the pressure's now on Arsenal on that game on Leicester, because they know if they win that game, they can cut it to 4 points, right? And then that puts huge pressure on you against Wolves. So there's pressure on both teams. The pressure on both teams. Listen, I just don't think there's enough games for Arsenal and Forest to claw this back, because it's only 14 matches. Forest don't even play Liverpool again, which is not a good thing. You know what I mean? When you're chasing the team down, you need to be like, I'll play them and back us to win. That's what you need to be doing. And Arsenal, I think, have just got a bit of a chance, but I just think with the injuries, I just don't think they're going to be able to do it with the injuries they've got. If they had a fully fit squad, maybe they could do it, man. But I still think this league is done, and I still think it's.
But it's momentum, LB. I mean, you said it on Potts' channel the other day, and I couldn't agree more. Yeah. And there was I think the first signs for me for Liverpool were probably around that Forest Brentford games. Yes, you ended up coming away with 4 points, but especially in that Brentford one, you weren't comfortable. You left it late, and then it's just kind of that Plymouth game that's killed the momentum a little. And then yesterday, I mean, I was declaring ourselves out after yesterday. We're still not fully in it, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't take much. It's not so much for me about catching Liverpool. It's about, can that gap get smaller? And as that gap gets smaller, the pressure starts to ramp up.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's now about pressure. You are probably best placed to deal with the pressure, but we don't have pressure. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I actually look at it and think, this is now what you were saying, Rums, about your next game is the biggest. I agree, until Arsenal and say Forest drop their points. If we drop points, just say we lose to Fulham or draw to Fulham and Arsenal draw with Leicester. I know it's unlikely they will. And then you go and win your next game. That weekend where that happens, I think the Liverpool fans will just relax and that will be it. Once that gap becomes 9-10 points to Arsenal as well, with a couple more games chewed off, that's when it's over.
I think what's in our favour, Wolfie, as well, is that they have to come to our place. And I think it's the third to last game of the season. And they've not, I know things can change in football, and this season's a weird season. And last season as well. First time this is happening in 10 or 12 years, but Arsenal have not beat us since November 2012 at our ground. It's been ages. And even when they've been better than us the last 2 years, they go 2-0 up, I think the season before last, and we claw it back. They have, I compare it to when we go to the Etihad. I know LB right now, City aren't playing the best, but there's some grounds you just have that mental block when, regardless of what form you're in, you have that mental block. I think what Etihad is to Liverpool is what Anfield is to Arsenal. No matter how well you play, something just gives and you just don't end up getting that result. So that's what gives me a lot of confidence as well. In your game, Wolfie, I actually back Forest to win. I can't see Arsenal going to the City ground with Trossard and Wary and whatnot against your boys in flying form. I just can't see it. I can't see them getting 3 points. Maybe they could get a draw, but I think some...
Well, this is where Roms as well, right? If you do the maths here, the most points Arsenal can get is, I think it's 92, right? So that means Liverpool only have to win 11.6, right? So 12 games out of the last 14.
14, yeah.
But that also includes you getting beat off Arsenal, because obviously Arsenal have got the maximum points now to the rest of the season.
And then so Arsenal winning everything. Yeah,
exactly. So you could lose against Newcastle, Roms. You could lose against Arsenal, win your other games, and you still win the league. And that's on the basis that Arsenal, from now to the end of the season, win every single game, which, let's be honest, they're probably not going to do. Right, so I just think that, like, when you do the maths like that and you break it down, I just don't think it's going to be possible unless you crumble. Unless Liverpool crumble, I just don't see a way. I think if you win 8 games now to the rest of the season, I think you win the league.
Do you know what, LB? That's why I've always had confidence. I think both teams drop points, but any game at Anfield, and I'll just back my club at my ground, I back us to beat anyone at Anfield. Not saying it will happen, but if anyone asks me what's your prediction, it will always be a win at Anfield, regardless who we're up against. The 3 games that concern me the most is Villa away, City away, and Chelsea away. Chelsea, we've not won there in about 4 years. We've not won at Etihad in 9. I think Klopp's first season, which was
2016, 2017, I think.
No, I think it was season before that, LP. I think it was. Actually, no, you're right. It was 2016, 17. The year Chelsea won their last league, and we haven't beat them since 2021. And even that game, it was behind closed.
Well, the thing is, Roms, you don't actually need to. When we do the maths, you don't actually need to win all those games. What you need to do is you need to pick up point. You need to win one of them maybe and pick up draws in the others, yeah? But what you need to be doing now, you got to be making sure that the likes of Wolves, you're winning against Wolves. Yeah. You cannot afford to drop points against the likes of Wolves, right? And really last night, you should have really won last night, yeah? Because if you win those games that you should win, then the other games will take care of themselves. Because that, when I say statistically, you need 11.6 wins or 12 wins to win the league, yeah? That obviously goes lower when Arsenal drop points and Forest drop points, which they will. Which is why I'm saying you probably need to win 8 games.
And it's not just that. Just one point to add. I think the Arsenal game comes too late in the season. I think it's the second or third last game, isn't it?
Arsenal.
Yes. Yeah. Correct. So, like, if that was in the next couple of weeks, and let's just say Arsenal did win it, then that could be a momentum shifter. You could actually get to that game having already won the league or needing a point, or the gap's already insurmountable anyway. I think it's too late in the season. There's a lot of things just nicely lining up for Liverpool. But I don't necessarily think Liverpool need to lose those games. I think in those games coming up, if you get stuck, the problem you've got now is I think a bit of a blueprint has been put down from what Everton did to you yesterday. Put 2 physical people up front. I thought Van Dijk really struggled yesterday. If a couple of those, rugged teams are able to do it, then draws may not help you. Draws could kill your momentum as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be losses.
And that's why I said Etihad, Villa, and Stamford Bridge worries me, because it's not to say I think we lose there. Draws are losses, and LB will tell you in title races with them, it wasn't the losses. There's one, I think it was the 18-19 season when we won the league. We lost one game that season. It was the draws that killed.
That's actually the maddest thing in the world, that you lost one game and didn't win the league.
Who was that again? Was that the one when you lost to Watford or something?
No, that was the following. That season we lost 4 games. But once we won the league, we kind of just...
We were the only team that beat them. And they lost one game all season and didn't win the league. How mad is that? But look at these next...
There was another instance, LB, where back in the day when we were Torres and Gerrard and we were in a title race with United, we had about 8-9 draws that season. Whenever we've been, I think we only lost 2 games that year in the league. So it's always draws that kill us. So we know in title races draws are the killer. But going through our
draws, I tell you what happened. Yeah. So like if you look at some league tables from like 20 years ago, you used to be able to win the league on like 75 points. Right. So what happened is and it's where people don't get it. The value of a draw, the value of a point, changes depending on the total amount of points required to win a league. So when you like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when I look at some league tables and I see United won the league on like 74 points, I'm like, what the fuck? The value of a draw then is much higher because the points it required is less. When you need 93, 94, 100 points like City and Liverpool were doing a couple of years ago, the value of a draw becomes weaker because that's no longer a good point, which is why some people, and I know Roms is, because Roms knows this for a fact, this is why when Liverpool draw a game, Roms is going, fucking shit, and then you get some Liverpool fans going, we drew, chill, but Roms knows. Roms like, nah, because the point is dead. Points are killers. The more points you need. This year, it's probably still is weak because you're probably going to need high 80s. But yeah, look at these fixtures, Roms, man. These next 4 weeks, bro, for you, this is big, isn't it? Big.
Do you know what game? Do you know what game's massive in this, right? Let's say we take care of Wolves, which we should do. We play midweek, so because we've got the cup final against Newcastle, this Aston Villa game got brought forward. Now, let's say both Liverpool and Arsenal win this weekend, it goes to 7. We could stretch it to 10 points temporarily, and I think that next weekend, correct me if I'm wrong, actually, I think they got West Ham. It's either West Ham or Forest. But once we have a 10-point gap, that could put even more pressure on Arsenal. So if we take care of Wolves, that Aston Villa game is massive. But they're in a bit of good form, and they've got someone at Villa Park this weekend, and I'm assuming they'll win that game. And they brought in I think their window, the intent of their window, you could say maybe Marlon and Rashford and whatnot at their previous clubs were on the fringes, but they're still big profiles. You can see Villa, they thought, you know what, we want to go we want to compete in the Champions League and probably get the top 4 places. Let's actually add depth to our squad. So that's going to be a tough game. Etihad, look, LV, I think you'll agree. When you come Anfield, you're never confident. And it's vice versa. I don't care how well we're playing. There's just something about City's ground which we can't overcome. I'm going to say this now, right? If we beat Man City at Etihad, I already think we win the league, but I'm going to be even more shameless. I'm going to come out and saying, we're just going to blitz everyone up because that is a scout that we've not had in years. If we beat Man City, I think we will then take care of Newcastle, Southampton, Everton are going to, I'm saying from now, Everton are going to get at Anfield. After what the Korean did yesterday, we're going to give it to them at Anfield. They don't know what's coming. Fulham away is always tough for us. I think Fulham are just away is tough for anyone in the league. They're just good at their ground. West Ham at home, we should take care of. I'm saying should to all this stuff. This probably won't happen. This Premier League season is mad. Like, there's going to be an unexpected result in this run. Leicester away, I think they'll be relegated by then. I don't know how much they'll be up for it. Scroll further down. I'm not even going to waste my breath on Spurs. But after that is, the bridge. I think that's a key one because I think it depends where Chelsea are at in their season. I'm going to assume by then you're probably got one foot in the final of Conference League. I know you might disagree with that, but I think you're still going to want to break into them top 5 places. That's going to be a very tough game. The bridge is always tough for us.
The thing is, right? So if you win 8 games, right, you got 14 games left, right? If you win 8 games, right, you go to 81 points, right? Get a couple of draws in there. That's what 83, and you've still got 4 games left. Right, that you could technically chalk down for losses. Right, that puts you on 83 points. The most points Arsenal can get is 92. If you get a draw against them, it drops to 90 straight away, which means Arsenal are only allowed to drop 7 points, which is why I think that if you win 8 or 9 games out of this run, it's done.
What we're saying is the finish line here, boys. Like, do you think 83 does it?
I think no, slightly more. I reckon 85, 86.
Yeah, around.
I reckon 85. Bro, 85 points, means that Arsenal can only drop 7 points in their final 4.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think it might be lower.
They've still got to play you, and they've still got to play Liverpool.
And United away.
You're probably right, Wolfie. It might even be lower to win.
Yeah, I just feel it'll be lower because if you reverse engineer, what did you say? 92 points for Arsenal. 92 is
the max Arsenal can get.
So you could look them comfortably dropping 9 points over the rest of the season, potentially, with their injuries and everything.
Are you looking at 83?
I think about 83 gets over the
83,
line.
83 then is Liverpool need to win 8 games, 2 draws, lose 4 matches. They could lose 4 matches. Liverpool could lose 4 matches, win 8, draw 2, and it's done. And by the way, obviously, that if Liverpool get a result against Arsenal at the Anfield, it doubles it. It doubles it up.
And you know, I said, I'd say around the Christmas mark, I think the league will be won in the 80 points region. I don't think you'll require 90 points this season to win the league.
You'll probably end up in the 90s, but the margin will be big.
Like LB said, I think mid to late 80s, I think we'll win the league. Because make no mistake, I do think we drop points, but Arsenal drop. Because you only mentioned Forest and Liverpool. They've got United away. Amorim seems to have Arteta's number. They've also got Chelsea at Emirates, and I know Dan probably say, they'll take care of us, but you just never know. Like with that, we know what this weekend's going to be so telling to see how well Arsenal deal with this new attack. Some might say, but albeit it's Leicester, they're pretty much going down. So maybe we need to see their attack against a better team. I think West Ham will be a good indicator next week. I think that's their next game.
Yeah, then they got us after that. Yeah.
And then they've got
I just think the only way this would be a contest is if you were playing Arsenal earlier on in this run. I think it's too late.
I also think that like if you want this league to be exciting, right, in terms of the title race, Liverpool probably need to lose at least 2 of these games against Villa, City, and Newcastle.
Which they are all losable games.
They are all losable games, but and the fact that they've only got 1 at Anfield as well. But I don't know, man.
Do you know one thing we're not taking into consideration as well? And I believe both sides actually have a deep run. We're both in the Champions League as well.
Yeah.
Who's to say that, let's say, Arteta would actually do something like this? Let's say Arsenal lose 2 games back-to-back. He's just like, let's just throw the league and put everything into Champions League. There's a possibility of that happening as well.
I agree with that.
I reckon we'll both at least hit You never know of Arsenal in Europe, but I reckon we'll both hit at least semis. Because when I looked at the bracket and whatnot, that's going to play a big part as well. You can get a key injury midweek. You just never. This is going to be a mad season, but I still back us to win it. I'm not panicking after yesterday. I only panic if we drop points at the weekend.
I actually think with Arsenal's injuries and everything, and like you said, with Europe, we could end up ahead of them.
That's actually
because we haven't got European football. We haven't got European football, and I think you're right. If that weekend comes where you win and Forest and Arsenal drop points, I think Arsenal need to shift their focus across to Champions League.
And you got a couple of difficult tests now.
Oh mate, we got a shitload of difficult ones. We got Fulham away, Newcastle away. We got Man City at home, Arsenal at home. That's our next 4. If we come out with that anywhere in and around Arsenal, then I'm confident we finish ahead of Arsenal because our run to the end is not too bad, to be honest. So if we get through these 4, I'm very happy. I'm very close to declaring ourselves out. I can't quite bring myself to say it, even though I
back the chest that you've had over the last month or so, but I just think now it's too.
It was out with 1 minute to go yesterday. I was waving that white flag, but
yeah, listen,
you just never know. If you get through these next 4 games, Rums, you're done. I've got you down for a win against Wolves. As a Forest fan, I'm hoping you go triple L after that. I can't see it. But it would need that. It would need that. And that still, you would be ahead of us and probably ahead of Arsenal, even if you did that.
Do you think that it's not a guarantee maybe, but like how confident are you in the Champions League? Because you're currently on 47 points. And obviously it's a 99.5% chance England gets top 5 this year as the Champions League. So you'd have to drop down to basically Newcastle's points and goal difference. Which is 13 goal difference, 41. Oh yeah, you're on 13 goal difference as well, just like City. So it's basically a 6-point gap then, with 14 games to go. The pressure is now fully on. Do you reckon you'll hang on to that Champions League spot?
I think this weekend's huge because you've got Newcastle, haven't you?
We got Newcastle.
Yeah, so if Forest can beat Fulham, and I'm not that confident about this one, Fulham's a tough ground for us. I think we haven't beaten them at their ground since we've been up. Last time we beat them was when we came up in our promotion season. But if the best scenario plays out, Forest beat Fulham, and then you guys are going to take points off each other one way or another, that for me makes me very confident about
You're probably praying for a draw, no? In our game.
Do you know what? I still think you finish ahead of us when it all shakes out.
But this weekend, City Newcastle, you're probably hoping for a draw, right?
A draw would be ideal. A draw would be ideal. Sorry? Fulham away. It's a tough one.
This weekend?
Yeah, it's a tough game.
But if you can go there and win and we draw, what would you be?
That puts 8 points?
8
points.
13
and then we've got you at the City ground in a couple of weeks after. Well, we got Newcastle, then you. So our fate is in our hands.
And the thing is with those games as well, by the way, you don't even need to win them.
Yeah.
Just don't lose.
Exactly.
What you don't want to do, you don't want to let the other teams, like, you don't want City and Newcastle to gain points. So as long as you don't lose, you're chilling.
Yeah. I think we're in a good position. I will feel more confident on Sunday if we've beaten Fulham and knowing that you guys are taking points off each other.
Yeah, no, that's facts. Yo, Dan, man, he's been sat there throughout the show just listening to what's going on.
Taking it all in.
Taking it in, thinking, what's going on here? I'm not talking about Chelsea or
Mate, no, do you know what? No, that's not what I'm thinking. I just don't think there's a title race. I just think it's done.
Do you agree with me that it's just too much?
Yeah, mate. I think the Arsenal injury this week for Havertz is just like, it's the nail in the coffin. I think it's done.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Forest, I actually think there's a chance Forest could finish above Arsenal. I really do.
I think so.
Yeah, but other than that, I don't know if Forest close the gap. So I think Liverpool have lost 1 game. Like when you look at that table, I just don't see them slipping enough to let anyone back in it to at least compete for the league. And then I was like looking through the Premier League tables, and like everything you're saying is right. Like the way history's gone, I just don't see Liverpool not getting the points to like wrap up the league.
Yeah. Exactly, I completely agree. I think it's dead, man. I think, to be honest, this season is probably one of the worst seasons.
I know, man. We chose this season to be decent when Liverpool. I mean, I blame everyone else. We did our thing against Liverpool.
I mean, the relegation stepped up. Dead, man, because like Leicester, Ipswich, and Southampton are going down, and then the only thing that's left now is this top 4 race, which actually is pretty interesting because
Yeah.
I'd say even Villa are not out of it. You know, you go down to Villa on 36 points.
Where's your cut-off, LB? Who do you think's still in it?
I don't think Fulham are going to get it because they're inconsistent. But I think when you look at 36 points, bro, they're only 5 points behind the top 5. If they win against Forest, if they beat you this weekend and City and Newcastle draw, all of a sudden, you know, they're what, like 4 points behind. Like they're not going to get it right. But I'm saying, if I was a Fulham fan, I'd want my manager to come out in the press conference saying, "We're going for top 4. We're trying. We know that it's difficult, but there's 14 games left. We're only 5 points behind. We're going to go for it." Right? I don't think they'll get it right, but
I think it's a big game this weekend, mate. Because if we beat them, we gap them 14 points. If they beat us, they reduce that deficit. So if we beat them, they're done for the top 5. So
I agree.
Almost like we can kill it off a little because we did that with Brighton last week. They could have cut their deficit to us quite heavily.
Yeah, you're cutting all these teams out. So now Brighton are now out of it. If Fulham win at the weekend, they're still in it. If you beat them, it probably then is the top 8 or goes down to Villa. But I think you'll hang on. I think it'll be Liverpool, Arsenal, no particular order. Yeah, Liverpool, Arsenal, Forest.
You've changed your mind, mate. You've changed your mind.
On what, Forest?
Yeah, you said we'd drop out of the top 4.
Well, no, I said that about 3 weeks ago. But you keep winning. You know, and when you got beat off of Bournemouth, was it Bournemouth you got beat off of?
Yeah.
And then you just rebounded straight away. I was like, they're just doing it. And I just think that 6-point insurance policy that you've currently got, and the fact that obviously City are playing Newcastle, and the fact that you don't have to win those games against City and Newcastle, you can just shit out a draw, and that's good for you because you've got that 6-point gap. I just think you'll manage to hang on. But I think, and I don't know what Dan will think about this year, I think it might be Chelsea that fall out of the top 5.
I think at the moment that's a fair observation. I think when you look at it, we almost look like we're still sat pretty comfortably in the top 4. Like we're 2 points clear of City. We've only lost 5 compared to 7. But I think just with everything that's happening at Chelsea right now and the current form we're in, I wouldn't be surprised. Losing Jackson's massive as well. Obviously, no striker now for a month. It's going to be a test. I mean, it's not like he's been providing for us for the last month and a half anyway, but just not having one on the pitch is difficult. And Maresca's come out in the press conference today and basically said he's not even bothered about top 4. He got told it was 2 years that he had to get it in. So I think that just kills any mentality to even try and get it again. I don't know what he's doing. I think for me, he's showing he's out of his depth with how he's handling his press conferences. I don't think he can cope with the media.
Wait, are you paraphrasing or did he say that?
No, he did say that, yeah. I haven't got the exact tweet, but the quote from the press conference, but yeah.
That's crazy.
So that is true. His pre-season kind of objectives were get top 4 next year.
Let me see. So he confirmed today that Jorgensen is number 1 currently. So he's finally seen the light.
Also, he's dropping Sanchez now.
Yeah, because Sanchez played Brighton, didn't he? And I think Jorgensen's aren't the number 1. So we've got Brighton tomorrow night. So that'll be a big test. But yeah, I'm just trying to find if I find the tweet, I'll bring it up. But he said
is that the Amex again, mate?
It is, yeah. We're going twice in a week pretty much. So
seems like he's just going through the motions, like he's just not really bothered. Like he's just going day to day.
But the problem, I agree, Rom's right. And then the problem is complacency seeps in, and then all of a sudden you're not in a top. Like not that long ago, we were in a title race. Now we're like dropping into a real tough race for Europe. Whether that will be Champions League, Europa League, Conference League qualification. Look how close it is. We're talking about Fulham potentially being in or out of it. If Chelsea lose to Brighton are on 37, Chelsea on 43. There's only 6 points. We're saying the title race is done at 7 points potentially. Even then, Chelsea might be looking at Brighton over their shoulders, thinking if we continue to drop and go the other way, Brighton could creep in. Because I was looking at Serie A, they got 8 teams or 9 teams into Europe last season. I think 8. So that could mean up to 8th place in the Prem gets some sort of European football.
Do you know, I'm just looking at the table here. One team we didn't mention is Bournemouth. And if you look at the 2 teams above them, City and Newcastle, something's going to have to give. Chelsea versus Brighton, something's going to have to give. Forest, something could give as well. Like you said, away for them is tough. They've got Southampton on down, basically. They've got, and I think that's a derby, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is for Bournemouth, it's not for Southampton.
There's
is it?
I think there's his Portsmouth.
No one cares about Bournemouth, so like they try and attach themselves.
Wait, where's that? You have a thing against Bournemouth, don't you?
Yeah. I'm not liking where Roms is going with this, but continue.
No, but I'll just say, look, they're probably going to get out of all them teams that they're competing with, City, Newcastle, Chelsea, Brighton, yourself. This weekend in isolation, they're most likely to get the guaranteed win out of all those teams. That puts them onto 43 points, which puts them in the top 4 on goal. Actually, Chelsea would have to lose by like 3 goals, but it puts them in around the top 4. And you said you only need this top 5 this year. Bournemouth, I think people sleeping on, but then I just saw their running, and then the last 4 or 5 games are a bit crazy.
Right, so this is the Chelsea thing that Dan was just sent me, right? So Cucurella, what's he saying? Our objective has to be win a trophy.
So watch how it changes like throughout the month.
Oh, so this is in October, yeah? So this is in October.
Everyone at Chelsea's on like different pages, basically, is what this tweet's saying. But the last tweet is what Maresca said today.
Okay, so this is Cucurella in October. Our objective has to be win a trophy. Conference League, we can do something good. And the Cups, last year we got to a final and semi-final. In the league, we have to be in the top 4. Okay, so, Fez. Who's this?
That is one of the sporting directors. So that's actually in the picture. The guy on the left is the quote.
Right. Okay. So this is sporting director. This again is in October. This is a club that needs to be in the Champions League. It's a club that needs to be competing to win trophies consistently, and we want to do that with a certain way of playing as well. Okay. Maresca, and this is in January. Right, this is what, like 2.5 weeks ago?
Yeah.
3 weeks ago. The plan with the club was that next season to get top 4 and then the season after challenge for the title. This is why I said we're ahead of my expectations because we spend most of the season in my top 4. Okay. But we want to hear that if I'm a Chelsea fan, but like, okay, whatever. And then this was today.
Yeah.
This was today. He said, I didn't say the target was top 4. The club never told me that. The target was in 2 years to play the Champions League one. This is beta mentality if I've ever seen it in my life. What is he saying this?
Yeah.
Do you know what this does? Do you know what this is reminiscent of? Do you remember when he told the players that they weren't in a title race? It plants that seed.
Yeah.
I think now the players are subconsciously going to think, you know what? If we drop out the top 4, it's not really that deep. As long as we win the conference, that's all.
We get Europa.
The thing is as well, right? We have to cook Chelsea. We have to cook Maresca on that, right? Because we cook Arsenal all the time, yeah, for their like standards and mentality, right? But that for me is absolutely appalling that he said that. Appalling. Now it might be factually true. The club might have told him that, but he should be coming out in that press conference and saying, we have to get top 4 this season. There is no excuses.
Why would you not want to overachieve if you don't think your squad has the capability to do so as well? Do you know what I mean?
Arsenal did this 2 years ago as well. Do you remember in January 2 years ago, when the first time they were in the title race, and that Edu guy come out and they were like 7 points clear of City, and he come out, didn't he, in the press? He come out and said, "Target's top 4." It was like, what you on about? You're 7 points clear of Manchester City in January. What are you talking about? The target is to win the league. The target for Chelsea this season, when they were in the title race, should have been to win the league. But it should 100% to be getting that top 4. I can't believe he said that. What's the Chelsea fans' reaction to that?
I think they're getting fed up. I think they agree with you, what you're saying in terms of this yes man, like beta mentality that you just don't need as a manager of a top club. Like, there's actually a beauty in staying quiet in that situation and just saying we're focusing on the next game. Because I think, like Rom's touched on, that is like bringing down and adding a level of complacency to the squad and just bringing down like expectations. It's killing momentum. He's been playing down every situation Chelsea have been in this season since the get-go. Like, as soon as we were in a title race, no, we're not in one. He was the only person saying that. Then literally from that, he's played down every situation. I mean, there's an argument to say that in less than a month, his comment is playing down top 4's importance even more from January to now. So I don't know what he's doing. Is he trying to protect himself? Is he trying to just lower everyone's expectations at the club?
Lower everyone's expectations because he doesn't back himself to get top 4.
That's what I mean. I just don't see any other manager saying that wherever they are in the league.
Well, you say that, Dan. I think all managers do that, and honestly, it does my head in. If I hear we're focused on the next game one more time, I would rather they came out and showed some chest, or said, if he had said, "Look, the club set the expectations for top 4 next year, but I feel I've been able to advance this squad quicker, and my target now is at least the top 4." Something like that. I think that shows a bit more balls. I'm so sick
Yeah,
of
well,
this.
Ange
Let's
did it for
focus on the
Spurs
next
last
game.
year and this
Oh,
year, didn't he? He come out and
especially when
said,
it's
last
top
year we're in a
five.
title race, no matter what mathematically we're in it.
I didn't
until we're
mind
out
him
of it."
saying that. I
Nah,
liked
me
it.
neither. And then
Yeah.
he obviously said, I win things in my second season. And that probably gave Spurs and the players a little bit more belief, thinking, actually, no, he's up for winning something this season. All right, it's done what it's done and it's typical Spurs. But he probably gave them more belief than if he'd gone, now we won't win anything this season.
Did you know what, Dan? He's probably made managers go more in their shell, because how many times has it been thrown at him? You win stuff in your second season. And, you know, as much as I laugh at Ange, I still respect the fact that he said it.
Maresca can't even say that because he's not even had a second season. Like, he's not even had one.
Well, he can say, I win things in my first season, can't he? You know?
Yeah, yeah, true.
You know what
Well, no,
happens,
because
Dan,
his
when you
first
get
one at Parma was diabolical.
Yeah, he did shit. This is what happens when you get an experienced manager, bro. Like, they're going to do things on the pitch tactically wrong. They're going to get decisions wrong. And they're probably going to say shit in press conferences that probably are not the right thing because he's not got the experience. You know what I mean?
Do you know what, lads? I've just got a notification or something which is going to affect the run into the season. I don't know if you lot were aware, but semi-automated offside technology is going to be used in the 5th round of the FA Cup going forward. So that will affect Forest and City, and also in the Premier League at some point. I'm Plymouth. But yeah, and in the Premier League. So finally, the penny's dropped. Yeah, I'm Brighton. But the penny's dropped. But it's going to be introduced. They're saying Premier League, there's not a set date, but in the FA Cup, it'll be from the next round.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it, Rums.
Yeah, I still reckon they'll find a way to mess it up.
Yeah, I think Howard Webb is an absolute joke. They developed their own system rather than taking a system that's been working effectively in Europe and in the international tournaments. Also, they can make some money on it. It just reminds me of do you remember in COVID, when everyone was doing the tests in all the other countries, but we decided in Britain to do our own system, and then we ended up wasting millions of pounds. I'd like to know how much money they've wasted so far on.
They've earned it back on interest from Roman Abramovich's bank account, I reckon.
I'll bet they have. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. But I mean, that's a whole other debate about Howard Webb and PGMOL.
The only reason why I brought it up because it's literally, and it's not like just them little sources. It's literally on quite a few big sources.
Yeah, but Roms, do you know how bad is it, right? That should have come in at the beginning of the season. They delayed it. Then they halfway through the season said, we're not going to bring it in. And now, in the middle of February, halfway through a competition, they're like, oh, we might as well bring it in because that's when
just
VAR comes in.
They're just absolutely useless, these guys. You know what I mean? They change rules. Handball rule gets changed every year. No one has a clue what the rules are because they get changed all the time. And I don't think the media help, because I think the media love the controversy about it because it gets them to talk about stuff. I've always said, right, you know, when like a controversial decision gets made, right?
Yeah.
And obviously for fans in the stadium, although you could put it on the screen. Like when you're watching a game on Sky, controversial decision. So the best one for me was, you know, that the handball for was it the Spurs game? Who did Spurs play a couple of weeks ago when that guy literally had it was Newcastle, wasn't it? And it Newcastle's player's hand. And then he passed it to a player, right? So everybody thought that's handball. But actually the rules say that wasn't a handball because it wasn't the guy that scored the goal. So it used to be, if there's a handball in the build up to a goal, it's handball. It gets disallowed. But now they've changed the rule to it's only a handball if the goal scorer handles the ball, right? But what they could have done is, so no one knew.
I didn't know that until you said.
Oh yeah, so they changed the rule. So what they should have done is then Sky, in my opinion, Sky should have said, "Oh, the goal's been given. Here's the handball rule on screen." And then because that's what I did. I remember tweeting, I saying, "I can't believe that goal's been given." And I thought, let me just read the wording of the. I typed in Google handball rule, read it, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's
different
actually
in UEFA. It's different in UEFA competitions as well."
Yeah. So why did these broadcasters not just put up the rule on screen as soon as the goal goes in?
Because it's content, LB.
Because it's content. Because they love it, bro.
I reckon. I don't know what you can say.
They've turned to clickbait YouTube merchants. That's what they've done, bro. The mainstream media have turned into YouTubers, and actually, there's loads of sick content online. I was watching a guy, City fan called Nobbins. He puts up mad sick content. You've got that QPR fan. You've got people like Liars. These people who are on YouTube who do that proper tactical breakdowns that you should be getting on fucking Sky and TNT and ESPN all across the world, shit. But you're actually getting on YouTube, and now Sky and all these guys, these turned into clickbaiters, man. I see it all the time. I go on YouTube. It's like a new video on Sky Sports Premier League. It's like, oh, clickbait. It's
Even
like,
or even Carragher, right, is doing it in his punditry. He's turning into like rage baiting, and I sat there like, come on, you're better than this, Jamie. Like, actually analyze what's happening on the pitch. Like, that's what you've got that job for.
Do you know what, Daniel? You make a good point about UEFA, because I don't know if you not watched the Brest and PSG game, but I think his name's Lise Malou. He used to play for Norwich, I think, off the top of my head. He tried to remove his hand from the shot, and it's hit his hand. And straight away, actually, the ref, I don't think the ref blew for it. I think he actually got overturned. But I'm like, that's so unfortunate, because he's literally trying to move his hand, but it hit his hand. And I think that was the opening goal in the game. I think PSG go 1-0 up by it. But then some say, look, it would have went in. So maybe it should have been a pen. But you're right, Dan. It just literally has to brush your arm. And in UEFA, and it's a penalty.
Yeah.
I don't think it's right.
But this handball thing is they're really struggling with it, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's like, they made, remember when they made everything a handball,
though, haven't they? UEFA have basically said if there's any touch of the hand, it's going to be awarded as either a free kick or penalty.
But that makes more sense to me. Because how do you know
decision factual? It's literally one or the other. It can't. There's no grey area. It's like, if it touches, it's this. If it doesn't, we play on. It's that simple. You know, like offside. If he's in front of him, he's offside. If he's not, he's
binary.
Like, that's it. It makes it simple. The Premier League are like, no, we're going to look at intent. We're going to grey area the whole situation. But then that's exactly what makes the discussing, the talking point afterwards happen. Because anyway, for competitions, we've never got talking points after the games. We're barely ever talking about the refs now.
Dan, I say it any platform I'm on, right? The reason why, I think referees are purposely making these decisions. Did you ever know 10, 15 years ago for there to be ref watch? Like CBS have one with Owen and Howard Bem, and then Prem have one with...
It's content, bro.
Football have Dermot O'Query as well, don't they?
Exactly.
Bro, it's becoming a entertainment content machine. Yeah, and that's what they love. You got ref watches. You talk about referees are now getting punditry jobs after the fucking on that Gillette Soccer Saturday. I see Mike Dean sitting there with Paul Merson.
In the live matches, they're cut off on BT, don't they? They've got what's his face on there.
Let's get the views on this person and that.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's gone too far when they have the show with Howard Webb, with Michael Owen, which is clearly scripted
paid
in
from
itself.
Sky, who won the content.
But this is my point, lads. This means they have to purposely make controversial decisions for there to be something to speak about. Because if they don't mess up, there'll be nothing.
And that's why they very rarely show. And they do it sometimes, but they very rarely put the rules on the screen so you can actually see what the rules is. Sometimes they do. I don't want to say like they've never done it, because they have definitely done it in the past, but they don't always do it. And sometimes simply all they have to do is put the rule on the TV, so you can read it and you'll go, oh, it's not controversial anymore. But they don't do it because then they want to talk about it.
But LB, I think when they do put the rules on the screen, it's normally at halftime or after the game. It's never normally during the game. You're right. They've done it the odd time. Like, I've seen a mad controversial decision.
You're right.
You see it maybe in the bottom corner, but it's normally after the game when the game's
after the game. Done. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Why can't they? So
they're looking it up.
I use the Spurs game, that Spurs Newcastle game, as the perfect example, because I remember seeing George tweet about it, seeing loads of people tweeting about that handballs, and they were all going 6. How the fuck has that not been given as a handball? All Sky had to do is literally put the rule on the screen. People would have read it and gone, fairs.
Mate, they probably don't know it. That's the reason why someone's looking it up.
Knows it, because they change the rules every freaking year, Wolford. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Do you know how they fix these refs? I think they need to do a table of refs. So
I agree.
There's an independent person sitting in there who gives him points or deducts him points. And at the end of the season, you have a relegation zone. Those refs move down. I know it's not fair for the championship, but then you would have refs.
No, that is fair. Account. That's literally how it should work. Like the Premier League, as in like the actual Premier League, should have the elite, right? And the refs. You shouldn't be having like our best referee fucking conference league, should you? Stupid. But I don't. The one bit where I think I'd do it differently. I wouldn't have the league running the same. I'd have it shorter, so I'd do it quarterly. So I do every quarter of the season. It's like more of a fluid league, so it's like, we're reacting quicker to the shit refs. I wouldn't just do it, because then you can have a referee so clanger after clanger all season and eventually relegate. I do it every 3 months, every 2 months, 2.5 months. The 2 worst referees get demoted to the championship. The 2 best championship referees get promoted.
I feel like it needs to be in centre fans as well, because let's be honest, money talks. If they know, look, I'm the best, making the best decision, and I'll take away the most for this game week, I think it will prompt them to make the better decision.
give them
It's
like
not just that. The ones at the top end up in the Champions League. You know, the ones
they will get
below end up
trophies,
in
man.
Europa.
That's the sad part about that.
Yeah.
They would definitely get a trophy.
You know what's crazy about all this? I run the now under 14s, and at the end of the match, when we submit the scores, the goal scorers, we have to submit a score for the referees as well.
Yeah,
so it happens at grassroots level, but when it comes
I used to be a referee. So yeah, I used to get the scores after the games and that. Yeah, I was a referee, bro. I was a referee for 2.5 years. I was 14, bro. It was sick, man. I was earning like 60 quid a weekend, bro.
They make a shitload of money, man. They really do.
How much is it now? I used to earn 20 quid a game.
It's about I think it's nearly 30 quid now.
30 quid a game, bro.
Yeah,
bro, Romsey, I used to wake up on a Saturday morning, go referee 2 matches on a Saturday. Sometimes I do a Sunday game. I was getting like 60. I was getting like what 40, 60 quid a weekend as a 14-year-old, bro.
That's actually sick.
Well, they just turn up, they give you the linesman's flag to your team, one to the other team, and then they have the little sandwich box for halftime, and then they on their bike going to their next game, and it's cash in hand, man.
That's wicked. Do you know what? I think the league. I'm just default. You said, I think the league table thing's wicked. Imagine referees arguing like our fans. Imagine Mike Oliver saying to like Bobby Madley or Anthony Taylor, I'm the best ref. No, you're not. I've won it 3 years in the trot. Like,
I got screwed in that last match. I should have got an extra point. You know what I'm saying? I'd love to
what? You know what I think we should have as well? I think the VAR referees, should be specific VAR referees, so they don't actually referee games. And I don't think they should ever meet the referees like in training or anything, because how many times have we heard that the VAR referees are like mates with the referee? You don't want to upset
that's the one, isn't it? Tails.
Yeah, I just think the VAR referee should be a completely different set of referees, and they shouldn't be too close. All right, they can meet them, whatever, but they shouldn't be close to the referees, because I don't know why you do that. Because like, who was it, that referee, that went, oh, I didn't want to send him to the screen because he's my mate, and I didn't want to tell him he got the wrong decision.
I can't remember who it was, but
if I was the referee, I would be like, bro, you've made me look like a dickhead. Yeah. Why didn't you send me to the screen so I could have changed the decision? Like, that's not no mate. I don't know why.
It was Mike Dean. It was Mike Dean who said it.
What's he doing, man?
Another question. Do you feel, because I feel like it is causing a bit of a stir, do you feel like the Premier League should release where they're from and whatnot? Like, cool, let's say they're from
Nah, I don't think it should.
Oh, I do. I do. I mean, we had the controversy last season, didn't we, with Luton?
Well, you can find out where they are. If you go on Wikipedia, it'll tell you where they are. But I don't think you should start doing that, because, bro, then you're questioning their integrity, right? And I don't think you should do that, because I think you should believe that they're making. I just think we should start off on the basis that they're just making mistakes because they ain't very good. I think if you start going down this road of, oh, he'd give that decision because he supports this team and they play them in 3 days, and if he sends him off, then in 3 days time, I just think then you're questioning what's the point in the game. You're literally questioning the whole integrity of the referee.
No, I would want to know. Because of what we had last season at Everton. We had Stuart Twatwell, as I call him, on VAR. And, you know, his brother is a Luton season ticket. Apparently, he's a Luton fan as well. And obviously, we were fighting with them and we didn't get 3 penalties. And Forrest came out and said it. We told them VAR is Luton, you know, and then we got fined 750k. So just have your cards on the table. This guy's a, Liverpool fan. This guy's an Arsenal fan. Everyone knows. And then there isn't that speculation like we had last year.
Because you know what?
Do you know what they say they support? Like, who did Mike Dean support? What's the team in Liverpool that isn't Tranmere? Like they say they support like random non-league teams.
For example, though, Dan, my fan base is having a meltdown because we got Newcastle in the final and they're writing letters to FA. Mike Oliver can't ref this game because he's a Newcastle fan.
Yeah, so he won't be able to referee that. But that's one of the reasons.
No, they don't have a say. The clubs do not have a say. I've asked Forrest this.
No, Wolfie. Michael Oliver will not be able to.
Oh, you're talking about because he's Newcastle.
Yeah, he's a Newcastle fan.
Yeah, no, he can't.
That is right though, Dan. Because if you support City or United, right, you then can't referee City games. You can't referee United games. You probably can't referee. Like, it limits you. This is why a lot of these referees support Altrincham and Tranmere and all that, because for their career is limited if they support a big team. That's just the facts.
Yeah. Now, but what I'm saying is, you can't, as a club, you can't specifically ask for a ref not
you
to
can't
ref
do that,
your
of course,
match.
and that's correct. You
Yeah.
shouldn't be able
There's
to do
clips
that.
out there as well, isn't there? When like goals have gone in and it like shows the ref and he's like, "Have you seen this?"
Well,
Like, they're
I've
out
seen the
there.
Mike
Yeah.
Dean one.
Yeah,
Obviously,
they're outrageous.
I've not seen them. That's
They're
crazy.
outrageous.
No, you've seen the Mike Dean one, bro, because what he does is he plays advantage, right?
Yeah.
And they end up scoring based off his advantage. So obviously he's buzzing as a ref. He's like, yo, my advantage actually worked. And then he's going, fucking come on.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Mike Dean was a funny guy, you know. But you know what's pretty mad now, yeah? I know Mike Dean used to get cooked, but he probably would be by far the best referee in this country if he was.
You know who I used to like? And I know we're all going to have different experiences, but I think he was a top ref. I think he retired last season, but I think Andre Marino was top, honestly. I actually think Michael Oliver's not that bad. Normally he handles the occasion well, but I think this season he's done himself.
Who's that?
For this season, Michael Oliver, I normally think he's actually a decent ref. He normally handles the occasion well. FIFA love him. I think he's done a World Cup final and a few Euro semi-finals, but this season
they get the tattoo, don't they? They get the tattoo of like the Champions League final.
Yeah.
You know, like the Olympic rings. It's like their trademark.
It's like their thing. Yeah.
I don't like any of
that. Who did the Man City game the other day? Clement Turpin. The guy that's going to retire.
Trossard.
Yeah, I actually think he's quality. I think he's really good. He very rarely gets anything wrong. I don't know how you feel about that, LB, being on the end of a result like that. But I feel like every time I watch him as a neutral, I feel all right. You're always going to be annoyed at a ref if you end up losing the game, aren't you? Going to find some reason probably to be.
I don't remember. I think he probably should have booked Bellingham when Bellingham pulled that guy back. Like it was a clear, like no intention of playing the ball, and he would have been booked for it. He would have been suspended for the second.
Are we going to talk on City? Are we going to talk?
If you want to talk on City, you can talk on City. I'm chill. Let me do these super chats in fact first because we've been sat here for time, man.
I was quickly going to say, LB, just before you do them, my old man used to tell me I was too young, but that Goliner referee, and he was on the front cover of Pro Evo, but apparently he was apparently he was class.
He was scary, man. He was scary.
He had
respect. You're too young for him.
That's what it was. He had respect.
Who's that, Colina?
Yeah.
He was. There's clips of him where like he's squaring up to players and shit. It's fucking mad.
They respected him. The players respected him. That was the difference.
No, that's fact. But at the same time, like back in the day, did they get as many replays and controversial decisions? Nah, probably not.
Yeah.
So like now we microanalyze every single tackle, every like a tackle's made. It's a good tackle, no one's more, and then they'll zoom in on it, they'll slow it down, they'll do all different. Oh, did he get the ball? Then we've got into he got the ball, but then did he follow through? And it's just like
what was the intention?
What was the intention of the player? Yeah, like getting a crystal ball out. What was he thinking? Like, fucking hell, man. Big up to LB says make Arsenal do the guard of honor at Anfield. Says LB. Yeah, that'd be pretty funny.
I would love that.
That'd be pretty funny.
Oh my god,
it could be the case.
I don't know if you lot stream with Staffy. Staffy has, when Arsenal did it for United, he's got it in his background. I'll get something like that.
That's not madness. Big up to Ranveer as well, bro, becoming a channel member. Big up to you, man. He's also started super chatting. Says Doku versus Cousinov in training. Cousinov will start versus Real Madrid. Oh, is it Doku versus Cousinov? All right, cool. Yeah, I'm game. Full send it. See what happens, bro. Yeah, we would be there. Big up to you, bro. Big up for becoming a member as well, bro. I appreciate the support, man. Big up. And big up to Kat as well. Says, was our performance versus Madrid that bad, LB? I, for one, did not see that level of performance coming. We play like that. Mistakes. We play like that. Mistakes. We will
minus mistakes.
Oh, we play like that minus the mistakes. All right, boys. Well, what do you think of City then? You want to talk about City? What did you think?
I think obviously, you have to add context into this because you're not having your greatest season. I think any result's got to have outrage from City fans. But when you look at the game in isolation, I think you did well. I think you were undone by a few mistakes at Ederson. Ederson, and I think you agree, LB. Ederson's head is elsewhere. I think it's in Saudi. I think it's well-known news that he won't be at end of the season. But I actually think you played well. Real Madrid are going to have moments against everyone. It's their competition. But I think City actually did well. You just got unlucky towards the end. I think if Ederson was just a bit more clever, you probably see out that game or you probably come away with a point. I've actually agreed with that stream chat. I think City didn't play that bad, but the fan base will get onto them and whatnot. But it's because of the context of your season, because you've had a lot of performances where you've not played well, and then that thing where you've gone ahead again and then gone ahead and lost the game. I think it's a build-up of emotions. But I think that game in isolation, I think City were all right, personally.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Go on,
Yeah, I just add on to what Rom said. I think you were okay. I think it's really individual errors that let obviously Madrid back into that game. I actually think you look better with Ederson in the team, even though I'd agree that I think his head is elsewhere. I think Ortega, I mean, that you've got a group of fans, haven't you, that have been sort of pushing for Ortega to maybe get the #1 spot for quite a while. And I just think he's so off it. And Ederson obviously made that pass, which was just a little bit dangerous. That's where he's been so good, hasn't he? His concentration levels have always been top, considering how much you've had the ball. And I think slowly we're seeing that they're probably not at the level required. And Kovacic as well. I think we know his limitations.
I just think a lot of these players are like, by the sell-by date is overdone, yeah, and they're getting a bit mouldy. Or some of them have just like lost interest because they're not going to be here next year, i.e. like Ederson. Because now I'm looking at the mistakes that we've been making, and it's just like, it's unreal. Like, why is I ask you guys this question, yeah? You're 4 minutes away from beating Real Madrid at home. Why is Ederson trying to do that type of pass to the right winger? Why is he not just going, there's 4 minutes? He can look at the clock. We've got clocks at both sides of the stadiums. Why don't you look at the clock and go, bloody hell, 4 minutes to go. We're 2-1 up. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to launch this ball either to the corner and get our players to chase it to the corner flag, or I'm going to try and hit that 6'4" big Norwegian up top, and he can try and I'm smacking it. Why is he trying to make that decision?
I think because he's not locked in. You know, like when you're locked in and you're in the moment and you're in the zone, you're like well aware of where the match is, the situation, you're managing it. I think he's not quite in it. It's like you probably just knocked that pass in training, and he's probably just like thought, oh yeah, I'll try that one, play it over his head. It just didn't execute.
But it's the decision making that's killing our season, because if you look at all the mistakes that we're making, they are so bad. Like I need to I know the City fans, so I need to say to you guys again, yeah, like the errors that we're making are horrendous mistakes. They're not like, oh, a bit of an error. They're mental mistakes that we're making. Decision making is wild, and I don't know why we're making these mistakes. I have theories, a couple of theories. I can't put my finger on as to say why Kovacic in the 92nd minute doing that sort of pass.
You know what it is, LB, as well? With the way that you play, I feel like you play such a risky start. It's simple, but it's risky because of where you are on the pitch when you play like that, that if you make a mistake, then you're in a more dangerous position. You know, like you're playing on the front foot, trying to pass in and around your own half or play out of a press or that sort of situation, that when you do make a mistake, like the team are on their toes, ready to pounce. I think that's why you've been on the bad end of mistakes. Like some teams are making mistakes, but they do it in an area where it's not as costly and they've got players back to recover. I feel like you see like Ederson makes that mistake. All your players are sort of not in the right position to recover. Midfield can't obviously keep up. You know, when Bellingham scored his goal, no one's going to keep up with Bellingham making that run all the way through midfield.
But I think these mistakes have been happening for a while, but they were masked by Kyle Walker, because he was like your insurance. I'm talking about prime Walker here. When you would lose the ball dangerously, where you've had your whole team pushed up, you always had that insurance policy that with his pace, he would be able to come back and kind of intervene. And you haven't really got that at the moment at the back. So when any mistakes are made, they are amplified because you haven't got that insurance policy of prime Walker, if you like.
Do you know what, Wolfie? I'll add 2 more players onto that as well. I completely agree with you. He's out there, get out of jail card. So you can almost cheat because Walker's going to catch you.
Yeah.
I'd also say Fernandinho and Rodri at City's pomp, because they will recognise that there's so many times City will get dispossessed in the middle and the transitions on, but they would nullify it before it even happens. So I agree with you. I think when it comes to the back four, it's Walker, but a lot of times Fernandinho and Rodri wouldn't even let that happen. They wouldn't even get to that situation. So you're spot on. It has been a problem for years, but this is why you need the personnel. And this is what LB kept going back to. This is why I know they've just spent, it's mad to say, I think it was 175 in the window just then, but they need to get better quality in the summer, in my opinion, because once they have the personnel, City can play the way they want to play. But it goes back to squad building and getting it wrong the last two summers. That's all. But I do want to give John Stones a big shout out, because I think a guy that's not always playing week in, week out, he is, for me, he's one of my favourite centre-backs. And I know some City fans say Diaz is your best, but he's just the best for me.
I think all round, Stones is our best. The problem with him is he's always injured.
Yeah, injury.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But he's our best. I think he's our best defender all right. If you take into consideration everything in the game.
Yeah.
That IQ, that football IQ.
that first half, he just ran that game. Like everything just looked so effortless for him.
Yeah, he was dictating the game, man. So, like, and he'd invite pressure. He'd do what Rodri does. He invites pressure. He says to Vinny, he says to Bellingham, he says to Mbappe, he says, "Come on, come close to me." And then he'll wait and wait and wait. Then the space becomes available for other players, and then he'll get rid of it.
Yeah,
and like it's mad, bro. It's crazy. He's such a good player,
he
man.
can get rid of it by a pass or even a dribble. Like it's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, remember, bro, Champions League final when we played Inter Milan. Right, he had the most dribbles out of any player in a Champions League final since Lionel Messi, I think 2014.
Was that when he was playing like his hybrid role, where he was like moving into?
No player had dribbled more in a Champions League final than John Stones until Lionel Messi in like 2014 or 15, whenever it was that Barca got it. I think it was 2014, 15. That just shows you, man. He's fucking mint, and it's just such a shame that he's injury prone. Because genuinely, I think he's. If he played like a normal player and he get all the injuries, I think he'd go down as one of the greatest centre backs of all time.
Yeah, and England might have won something as well. Like just having him.
Unfortunately, he just gets injured. He's only 29, I think, 30.
LB, there's another talking point. This is more from rivals. I don't really think from City. But what's your thoughts on Rico Lewis? Because there's this narrative when City are playing well, he looks like one of the best. But when you're not playing well, he sticks out. I think he did very well against Vinny.
I thought he actually done. I thought the first couple of minutes he was ropey, and then I thought he recovered very well. I think
he won a couple of his one-on-ones, didn't he?
He did. I think he did quite well. I think for me, he is literally the definition of a luxury player. I think when things are going well, right? I think he's a brilliant player to have in your team because you're dominating the team. When you lose the ball, someone's there to win it back, and you get him in right back, you invert him into midfield, and you've got that extra player in midfield. And I think when you're playing well and you go down a 5, 6, 7 game where you've got no problems, I think he's mint. I think when things are going badly, I think he's a very bad player to have in your team because he doesn't invert into midfield a lot because you're not having as much as the ball. And as a right back, he's not strong enough. He's not physical enough to deal with the constant attack after attack. So for me, I think I'd keep him. I probably wouldn't sell it. I'd keep him as a rotational option at City, but he's literally a rotational luxury player.
Don't you think that's the coming of age? Don't you think he can learn them things? Because I think people
he's only 20. He's only 20.
I'm not saying City fans here, but I've just been seeing this narrative since last night. Not even last night, last few weeks that maybe he's not good as what we think. I think he's class, and I just think as he grows up, he'll develop more and more. But this narrative that when it's going bad, that he sticks out, I don't really subscribe to. I still think he's a quality player. And
do you think like the worst thing that could happen to him will be Pep leaving? Like, say Pep leaves in 2 years, whatever it is, it'll be 22, 23. Do you think like the next managers that come in, I just think they'll look at him and just look at his profile and go, that's just never going to work for me?
Well, the next manager
followed Pep his whole career.
The next manager is going to be Vincent Kompany. So, do you think Vinny?
Oh, you reckon?
I thought it would be Eric.
No, I think if Vincent Kompany wins those Bundesligas and gets to quarterfinals, semi-finals of the Champions League, he'll do it. All Vincent Kompany has to do is not fail at Bayern Munich, and then he'll get the job. So,
and he might be okay because obviously Vinny might see like Vinny inverts Kimmich, doesn't he, at times as well at Bayern and whoever else is sort of. I think they played. Is it Lima? No, who's the guy they've got? Maybe it's him.
Lima has played. They've only got Pavlovic who plays midfield as well.
Yeah, so I think Lima inverts as well. So maybe we'll have a future. I think you're right. Maybe as Rico gets older, like he'll have the knowledge and the know-how where he lacks physically. He'll make up for it in other areas.
Yeah, he's too young to judge still for me. But what I'm interested in, LB, is what does that defeat mean now for Man City? Because I only saw the highlights because for us were playing at the same time. But from what I saw, you look decent. But does the result more of a psychological blow now going forward into your season? Do you know what I mean? It's like you're gonna be underdogs going to Spain now. Even though you played well.
The Champions League game.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Even though you played well, has that now psychologically, could that have an impact on the players? Because you're now looking at what FA Cup really as potentially.
Listen, for me, Champions League's dusted. Like we ain't going there winning, right? So that's over in my opinion. So it's FA Cup, which we might catch life on. I know there's still a couple of decent teams in that tournament, right? But obviously, a lot of teams have been knocked out, which is wild. But obviously, this Forest. You beat Exeter, which would have been hilarious if you would have got knocked out, mate. Errol would have fucking cooked you, bro. But you're there. Newcastle are there. Brighton obviously got Newcastle.
Plymouth are there. Don't write off Plymouth.
So Plymouth are there. You know what I mean? With that Kastich guy at centre back, whatever he's called.
Hazard in goal.
Hazard in goal. So listen, for me now. Yeah,
high face in the stands.
Bro, it's for me. It's pie face in the stand. Yeah,
For me, it's simple. Brother, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Get top 5 and give that FA Cup a good go. But this season,
you know what? Talking about Champions League, by the way, Bruges got a really good result.
They did.
Yeah, that's a really good result.
That's good. That's good for the coefficient as well because Italy are second in that coefficient.
Is it?
Do you know what? I've been following their title race. You were touching it earlier, LB. The Serie A title race is a bit mad, especially between Italy, Inter and Napoli. But Atalanta haven't had Lookman for like the past 3 weeks. And you've seen how key he is to them because the minute he's actually, I think they've lost a couple times in the league. They obviously lost yesterday.
They've been bad since January. I think they won 1 game in the league in January. So they were there. They were like 2 points behind Napoli, and then I think they went 4 games without a win.
Did they play each other?
They did, and they drew or Napoli won. I can't remember, but there was.
But obviously, Retegi's just been banging goals for them. But it's like. It's quite cool to see someone having their breakout season at 25. I feel like that doesn't happen anymore. It's like
Remember,
Serie A striker.
They've got Scamacca to still come back. I don't know how we will recover after that knee injury because he might not be the same player, but they've got a decent deal. I know that better than anyone last season.
Yeah, I know you did. The thing is, for me, if we can scam an FA Cup win and get top 5, I think that is for the season that we've had. That is very good. Because this season has been an absolute disaster. It's just been a disaster. Our transfer window not good.
Imagine you get 5th LB and Chelsea lose the Conference League and you miss out.
What are you saying?
If you lose the Conference
League,
Chelsea don't. Well, I don't know. If Chelsea don't win the Conference League, does it affect the coefficient? Because I feel like there's a huge weight on Chelsea, like in terms of.
Nah, bro. If you look at the coefficient list, we're miles ahead of.
We like really ahead.
Team. Yeah.
Like what I want to know is like what happens because I've heard there's a rule of a cap of 5 teams per country in the Champions League. I don't know how true that is.
You
can't have 6.
Okay, so imagine this Europa League final, Spurs Man U. So what happens if we get the coefficient and either Spurs or Man U finish, let's say 10th, 11th, whatever it is, because they would then get the Champions League spot, which would make it 5 teams plus the top 4. Do we then lose out that 5th spot?
I think so. So
like that's worrying.
You know what, bro? I've not even thought about that. That's a great question.
Yeah.
Okay. Rom said, and I backed him, but I don't think you can have more than 5 teams in the Champions League. So
that's how I've read it. Now, Pete from Loaded Mac, he's told me you can have 7, and I'm like, I'm not seeing this anywhere. I know there's a 5 cap limit per country.
You know what?
So we need Spurs and Man U to get to the semis and go out, so the coefficient stays to 5th, but neither to win. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how right I am on that, but I am worried about that.
I think it was the COVID year. I think Spain were the first team to have 5 teams in the Champions League. It was Barcelona, Madrid, Atletico, Villarreal, and Sevilla. If I'm correct, it was those 5 teams. So I think it is a cap on 5. But that's a very good point because I actually think, United.
Oh, hang on, the cap has been removed, and it will be possible for 7 teams to get a place in the UCL.
Oh my God!
So that's fine then.
That's crazy. So probably United and Spurs, would they both get UCL?
Not Spurs.
Only one.
Only whoever wins.
Yeah. Are you sure on that, Dan?
I just read it on ESPN. It's like this whole article. It's like really in depth about the whole coefficient and everything. It says, under the old system, a maximum of 5 clubs from one association could play in the Champions League. The cap has been removed, and it'll be possible for 7 teams to get a place in the UCL. The top 4, 5th through league performance in Europe, and the league winners. And the winners of the UCL and UEL if they do not finish in the top 4.
Yeah.
It would also technically be possible, though highly unlikely, to have 11 teams in Europe for one country, the usual allocation of 7 plus the extra Champions League place and the title holders of all 3 European competitions. So say like teams outside of England, outside of the
so it can work, Dan. I've worked this out, right? So if Villa won the Champions League and finished, say, 8th or whatever, then they would get Champions League place. Then you'd have Spurs or Man U plus the top 5. There's your 7. That would then mean
and then Chelsea finish 9th and Spurs finish 11th. you could have
Yeah.
like a whole 7 go in plus another
It'd be
3.
more because you would get, say you won the Conference Cup, that gives you Europa.
Oh, Europa League, you're right.
On
yes,
top of that, so if you were to finish in a Europa spot in the league, that goes down further. It could be crazy. And then say Liverpool win the.
Wait, Moyes on for Europe with Everton. They were in a relegation.
It's what I'm saying. So if you beat Newcastle in the League Cup, that conference place goes back into the league. And then if say Man
Where's
City
that conference?
win,
I thought that was a Europa League spot.
It is.
No.
Wait, Dan.
No, not the League Cup. The League Cup is a conference spot.
Oh, conference
the
now.
FA Cup is
now conference. So they devalued it even more. Nice one.
No, it always has been. It always has been.
Plymouth
It just ends up being won by one of the Champions League qualifying teams, so it always ends up going into the league.
You see Conference League, right? Let's say you finish 12th or 13th in your league and you win the conference, right? Dan, is that automatic qualification for Europa League? It's the step up.
Yes.
Yeah, you step up, yeah.
This is why the Conference League is actually now more valuable than the League Cup. Because the League Cup gets you into the conference, whereas the actual Conference League, which is probably easier to win, gets you into Europa. So we could end up a scenario where, I mean, it's unlikely you'd need Villa to win the Champions League and not finish in the top 5.
That's mad, that though. That's a good question. That Wolfie. I didn't know that. I didn't know that, man. I was thinking then. I'd not even thought about what about if Spurs or United win the Europa League? That would have fucking set my head west if we would have finished 5th and they won the Europa League and scammed.
Well, Chelsea, you know about it too well from last season, Dan, innit? That's why I never trust Man U. I'm always happy when Man U are out of all cup competitions because they can just scumbag their way to something and screw someone over. So
we did it to Spurs when we won the Champions League in 2012. Actually,
you broke my brother's heart, man.
They were quality that year.
Yeah.
I remember.
Mad. All right then, lads. Let me do these super chats, man, and then we'll wrap it up, boys. Bill to Cat, who says rumours of Wirtz and Cambiasso with Nico Gonzalez and Rodri will be fine next season. LB, our attack is stacked. Our midfield will be better. Pep will be back, says Cat. Yeah, man, we just need to get these signings in, bro. Get me in.
Does Wirtz mean De Bruyne's leaving?
Yeah, I think De Bruyne has to leave.
Yeah.
The thing is, bro, he was done after 60 minutes against Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And he only played 20 minutes against Leyton Orient at the weekend. Not like he played 90 minutes. He played 15, 20 minutes.
Do you not think you can have like the Modric? You know, like Modric obviously coming from Madrid last like 20 minutes and just like runs the show for 20 minutes.
Maybe if he accepts that, he'd have to take a massive wage cut because I'm 400 grand a week pretty much, or 350. He'd have to take a massive wage cut and he'd have to accept that spot. And he might just think, fuck it, I want to play football. Yeah, I mean, let me go to MLS because City could just send him to New York City. He could go wherever he wants. Go to Saudi Arabia if he wants.
Do you know what? Lads, quickly with the whole, you said team could get kicked out of 4th. Didn't it happen to Newcastle under Pardew as well? Or am I going crazy? Did they finish
it definitely happened to someone. Someone
Spurs
got knocked
one
out.
I remember because my brother cried.
Yeah.
I think it happened to Newcastle. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I think under Pardew, when they had that French 11, I think they got 4th.
Oh, really?
Or maybe 5th. I can't remember.
The one with you, Dan, that was the penalty shootout, wasn't it? I think Drogba scored the final one, yeah. And I was filming my brother and that's slow motion that you could literally see the moment his heart broke. I love it.
That's mad. Yeah, big up, Cat. Yeah, I agree, bro. Let's get the cash out, innit? Big up to LB, says Gavardio was my man of the match. Gavardio was world class, man. He was absolutely fantastic. That tackle on Mbappe as well. Wow. Big up to you. Big up to Cat again, saying now goalkeeper who replaces Edison at the end of the season. I think it'll be Costa from Porto, €60 million release clause.
You know what? You moan about Edison's mistakes, yeah. He's full of them. Every time I watch him play, he makes some sort of mistake.
Bro, I've seen him once, right? And it was against United earlier in the season when he was at fault for 2 out of the 3 goals.
Yeah.
I was just like,
every time I see
I'm surprised no one wants our keeper Sells, man. He's been absolutely rock solid.
He was Chelsea, wasn't he? Well, not Chelsea, but he was Strasbourg and we let him go.
And he was at Newcastle for a bit as well. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, you got Kelleher, LB. We'll probably add some tax.
Do you know what it is with City's keeping situation? Is like the goalkeeper has to be so good with his feet. It's such a specific profile, isn't it? Like that you have to hunt for that player. Like when you signed Edison, no one saw you signing him from Benfica.
No. So basically, right? I don't know if you guys know that Nobbins is a City content creator, right? But he's got the pro version of like that Data MB website, right? Where you can So he basically put in, he basically put in all goalkeepers, and then he started adding like metrics to like narrow it down. So he did like passing accuracy, long balls, passing accuracy, short balls, and then he did like save percentages, and he just kept on knocking it up, refining it. And the two best players based off of save percentages and ball playing at the back was Chevalier at Lille and Costa at Porto.
Really?
So statistically, I know you shouldn't buy players just on statistics, right? You should watch the players with eyes. But based off of statistics, Moneyball. Based off the statistics, Costa and Chevalier at Lille are the two best goalkeepers for like passing and shot percentages.
Fair.
So
you know what, that Chevalier guy, when he comes to Anfield as well, he's quality.
Apparently PSG want him at PSG. He's only 23. They want him to be the next guy because Donnarumma's like it's not really worked out.
PSG are playing that Russian guy in goal sometimes, aren't they? This season?
Yeah, I think Donnarumma's just like too clumsy with the ball, man. Like it's, the game's moved on. I think when they signed him really young, innit, and I think they signed him in a period where football hadn't fully gone to pass, and now like I just don't think he's really going to do it. So yeah, Chevalier. Will we be able to get him against PSG? I don't know. He's available for like 40 million euros, like 32 million quid, but cost us 60 million release clause. So we'll see. But we'll definitely get a new goalkeeper because Edison's going to Saudi, man. He's getting the bag, man. He's had his head turned.
By the way, just talking about that, have you seen Darwin Núñez? Do you see the interview that come out about Darwin Núñez and Saudi? That is outrageous.
No, I've not seen it. What?
No,
He's like, the reporter's asking him, and he's like, telling him he needs to get more money. And then in his ear, he turns to him and goes, Saudi, like this on an interview in Liverpool gear. Like, oh my gosh, it's so bad.
I've not seen this.
Yeah,
what?
Like, how can you do this? He's my player. Like, I would be done with him. By the way,
I think. You know why I think Dan? It's more like just a laughable now because I think we've all accepted. He's accepted. He won't be here.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if this is true, but apparently, again, I don't know how credible this is. Apparently, Chelsea wanted him as well. We know he's probably going to go to Saudi, but it was a pro direct.
That's it. It's a pro direct shoot.
And the guy says to him, "You want more money, Saudi?"
Is this it?
Yeah.
This is it. Oh, maybe he's not in Liverpool. Maybe he's in a red
drive?
pro direct.
Yeah, I have Lamborghini.
Darby? 4 cars.
Hey, uno, dos,
Portugal?
tres, gatos.
No, 3 in Spain.
Hey.
2 here.
Vale, cinco.
Much money, eh?
Bit of money, eh?
Big money.
Yeah. What car here?
I need more money.
Need more money. Arnie, if you're watching, pay rise. No, I've got your back. All right, score a few more goals. Get the bonuses in, and we'll more of this.
Much money.
Yeah. Tell him to pass you the ball.
Come on, Saudi.
Bring. Yeah.
No way. Come on, Saudi.
That's outrageous. I think that's outrageous. I
So
know
they
what
didn't
it's
edit
funny.
it
It's
out.
probably just humour, but it is outrageous.
Had that been any other player, I'm fuming. But it's just him. I
Yeah.
can't be mad at it. And
It's outrageous, though, isn't it?
All right. Big up to Donna, man. Says, Mr. LB, can someone from your panel be my Valentine? Any takers?
You can be my wife's one if you want. Save me the hassle.
Mr. LB, Mr. BDB, Dan looks Valentine's ready for me.
I'm all right, cheers. Although, if you want to bring me one of them M&S meal deals they do for Valentine's Day and be my guest.
They're quality, aren't they?
Yeah, they're good.
Oh shit, is that tomorrow? Oh,
Yeah, it is.
fuck's
Yeah, it's
sake.
tomorrow, man. Yeah, shit. That's a good big up, man. Big up, isn't it? Right, then we'll leave it there, man. Big up to you guys for watching. Make sure you smash a like before you leave, man. Come on, guys. The likes today are low, man. Only 255 likes on the stream. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel as well if you're new. I don't know if anyone else is live. I don't know if anyone's live, man. I'll just redirect to Rads going live with Mont, so I'll redirect there. But yeah, big up to Wolf, big up to Dan, big up to Roms. Potsy couldn't make it. He's at a chicken shop doing some filming with AFTV. So
Looking for a striker.
Yeah, looking for a striker. Crazy, man.
Probably got a sign outside the door. Yeah, free meal if you're a striker.
Yeah, for a free chicken wing if you're a striker. Honestly, what's going on at that club? But yeah, man, smash the like, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.